we've had plenty of firsts on the hotelplanner.com PGA EuroPro Tour. We've had first-time winners. We've had our first ever 61 by Billy Hemstock at Montrose last month. We've had our lowest ever cut at -3 at Camberwell Park. That was a first. And guess what? This week is no exception. Hello and welcome to the 9th event of the hotelplanner.com PGA EuroPro Tour Pentahotels Championship. Last time we were at Army Golf Club for the first time, and this week we've decided to add another new venue to our illustrious list. Caversham Heath Golf Club, set in the 4 square miles of the Maple Durham estate. This really is one of the most breathtaking courses we've visited all year, and to tell us more about it we have the estate manager, Robert Witchard. Robert, thank you for joining us. Tell us more about Caversham Heath.
Caversham Heath, we're a very young golf club. We only opened in the year 2000, but as you can see, we've made tremendous strides in producing a very good golf course.
It's absolutely stunning. Is it going to be a tough one today for the team?
It will be very tough today. The wind's getting up a bit, the sun's shining, so the greens will be quicker, so we're expecting a lot of interesting golf.
Fantastic. And what does it mean to have the EuroPro Tour here today?
It's absolutely superb from us. I mean, in the 16 years that we've been open, this just shows you how far we've come.
So you're very excited, I suppose.
We're absolutely thrilled and delighted.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to what we have in store today, but let's find out what we've got coming up over the next few hours. We'll have all the action from the final round. Could we see yet another first-time winner? Johnny Morgan gives us a putting masterclass.
This is where it all counts. Knee knocker putts.
And our resident pro also gives us his whole analysis through the show.
Nice little draw. That'll be perfect for the shape of this hole.
And Kit Alexander catches up with some of the tour's young stars.
To be honest, I'm just happy to be here on a Friday, rather than being back at Leicester playing golf and practising.
Johnny Morgan has been our resident pro for, well, forever. But did you know that he was one of only 2 players to gain his card on the European and PGA Tour in his rookie season? So I think that makes him more than qualified to give us a bit of a guide around today's course. Here's Johnny.
Well, cheers, Sian. Here we are at Caversham Heath. What a golf course it is. Par 73 here. First time we've ever been here as well. It's 900 feet above sea level. Got that kind of links effect to it as well on the golf course because of the long high rough, and there's gorse bushes and there's a few lakes around the place. Now also it's 7,151 yards long, so it's quite a bit of a beast for the players. The bunkers are around about 250, 260 off the tee, so the boys might be able to get driver out, give it a good old welly and try and get away with a few shots. But you know, the biggest trick and the biggest obstacle the players got to contend with is 10.5 on the stimp greens. They're small, they're fiddly, they're undulating. There's going to be some interesting pin positions out there. But I tell you what, if you can get to double figures, it could be winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Ah, John, the old winner, winner, chicken dinner. I'm more of a pie and mash girl myself. Anyway, enough about my culinary delights. Let's take a look at who could be serving up a veritable feast at the end of the week as we have a look at the story so far of the Pentahotels Championship. 53 players made the cut in pretty benign conditions in the opening rounds. It's been a baptism of fire for Alex Mason. So far this season he hadn't made a cut in his first year as a pro, but this week he made the cut in some style, courtesy of a second round 67. He would head into the final round at 8 under par.
To feel nervous is good because it's what you practice for. It's been a while since I felt it as well, so it's a good thing. It means you're doing well, so you just got to take it and embrace it and play with it.
He would be joined on that score by Mark Lasky. With 3 top 10 finishes in 2016, he is on the hunt for title number 3 on the EuroPro Tour.
Last week I just let it run away with myself a little bit, so today that was a good lesson to remind me of things I've learned in the past. So today I'll just be staying in the present and enjoy it.
It was a 3-way tie at the top with Nick Cunningham, one of that trio. He squandered a golden opportunity at Montrose, starting 1 shot off the lead. He finished 12 back from Billy Hemstock. At -9, he will hope to have learnt from that experience.
I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I think as long as you put it in play in a good spot on the par 5s, you've got a good opportunity to make birdie. So.
Richard James had his maiden victory at Close House at the Lookers Championship a fortnight ago. His 2 eagles in round 2 helped him to post a second round score of 67, but it did include 3 bogeys.
It was a bit angry, not angry, but coming off the course, it was a bit angry with my finish, but you got to take the positives. You know, I hit a lot of quality golf shots out there, and you know, I'll take that into today.
The last of the trio at the top of the board is Hayden McCullen. Winner at Prince's in 2015, he hasn't had the greatest of years, but a top 10 at Army last week has clearly given him confidence. Rounds of 68 and 69 would see him join Cunningham and James at -9.
I'm just going to go out there and try and shoot another good score, and if it is enough in the end, then, which I hope it would be, then yeah.
So heading into the final round, it is bunched at the top. 3 tied at -9 and Lasky and Mason at -8. However, don't write off Alex Wrigley. He is looking for his first top 5 and is only 2 off the lead at -7. Thriston Lawrence was the only player to get into double figures. 4 under after 5 holes would be converted to a disappointing par 73. He was one of a trio at 6 under. So I think we're all set for the show, and all that's left to do is hand over to your commentary team, Gary Ellis, but first, Michael McMullen.
Thanks, Sian. Just 6 more tournaments, including this one, to claim a prized place at Desert Springs in the Tour Championship, and maybe ultimately one of those 5 Challenge Tour cards for 2017. And this is the young South African, Thriston Lawrence. Shared the first round lead with a 67, followed that with a 73 in the second round, but only 3 off the lead.
Yeah, nice pitch in there, and a chance of advancing his score.
He's a young player who's got a lot of potential around him, isn't he, Gary?
He certainly has. He's got a good swing, and he's beginning to make his mark on the EuroPro Tour.
Sam Robertshaw getting his birdie at the second. He's broken par in both rounds so far. Good start today.
So back to Lawrence's birdie chance, just on the left edge of the hole, this one.
Ooh, just crept in the side, and immediately he gets back to only 2 behind. He's a big lad, isn't he?
He is. He's not that tall, but he's again, like so many of these players out here, very, very fit and strong.
Jack South now, 69 and 73 so far for him, and he started with 2 pars today. So we return to Lawrence.
I like the way he went about playing that shot, although it's come up rather short and you know, doesn't look as good as the swing that he put on it. Got a little bit too much grab. If it had just run down that slope, it could have gone very close.
Yeah, could have. Well done. South birdied the 3rd yesterday. Oh, don't tell me he's going to do it again. Oh, just enough to get there.
It was staggered over the front edge, but took the necessary drop. This is a tricky putt. It's downhill and swinging from the right.
It's for back-to-back birdies to start his final round. Oh, they're holing everything today, Gary.
That's brilliant. These the greens are very, very smooth.
Yeah.
Though. They've been worked on. They're running at a nice pace. Lovely grass cover on them.
So Lawrence very quickly is now only 1 off the lead. Cunningham, James and McCullen all yet to start out on 9 under. And this is Nick Cunningham. He was one off the lead going into the final round at Montrose earlier this season, fell away, finished a good bit down the field. Be hoping to handle the situation better today, but a bit of work to do there at the first.
Yes, a bit of a sort of typical result off an upslope out of the rough. Very easy to turn it a bit left and long, which is exactly what happened.
Robert Shaw's shown some good form in recent weeks. Had his first top 10 of the season at Close House. Good chance of another one today. This is Mark Lasky. Started so well at the Army Club last week with a 64. Fell away a bit in the second round, but still ended up finishing joint 7th.
Yes, he's been showing a little bit better form, having not quite shown the form that he had in last season.
And that's Robert Shaw's second birdie of the day already.
So as we go back to Nick Cunningham with his third shot from this first cut of rough, very delicate there, just to pop it over the fringe, and actually got almost too good a contact, a little bit too much spin, but left himself an uphill putt to try and save his par.
Jamie Britton birdied this hole yesterday, looking to go one better today. Oh, not quite. It'll be his first birdie of the day, though. Much more of this, and we'll be calling him Great Britain instead of Jamie Britton. Now Lasky, it's been so hard to birdie this opening hole today, but if Lasky can, he'll be tied for the lead. Not to be. Been such a good year for the Welsh contingent, hasn't it, on the EuroPro Tour?
Yep, there's certainly enjoyed their golf, the Welshmen. So we're just taking a little look at the first hole, par 4, 387 yards, and as you can see from the statistics, it's a balance, but there's been 8 others, which on a 387-yard hole is unusual. You normally expect them to eat this hole up and birdie it, but you've got to be careful off the tee. They're very wide, generous fairways on this Caversham Heath Golf Club, but again, the difficulty, if you get it in play, as you can see, even looking down on it, big sloping green, and you've got to get the ball close if you're going to have any chance of making a birdie.
One comment to make about this week, Gary, the conditions so far have been so favourable, but if the wind gets up later in the day, it becomes a very different course.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Michael. It's been very benign on the opening couple of days, and as we're starting out today, it's quite quiet, but the forecast is for a little bit of blow to come along, and I think that might sort a few out.
This is Hayden McCullen. We've been referring to him as the teenager. Well, we can't do that anymore, Gary, because he turned 20 just a few days ago, and the only player to shoot in the 60s in both rounds so far.
Yes, I've seen quite a bit of Hayden McCullen, and I think, you know, in the coming year or two, we're going to learn more of his name.
Cunningham to complete a very good up and down. It's a good effort from where he was. And he looks happy with it. Still only 22 years of age, Nick Cunningham, only been a pro for a couple of years. His golfing idol, Tiger Woods, like so many players of his age. And he's been telling Kit what he's learned from those experiences at Montrose earlier in the season.
Just stick to my notes and my game plan a bit better. Spent a bit of time with Terry Monday and my coach the last couple of weeks, literally just working on course management, because I always hit it okay, but course management always seems to sort of do me a mischief. So yes, that's what I've done the last couple of days, because I've not hit it incredible, but just hit it in the right spots really, which I think for these sort of greens is perfect.
Yeah, no better person to learn course management from than Terry Mundy, Gary, Ian Poulter's caddy. It's so much more a part of the game nowadays.
It is. It definitely is than if you go back when I played in my father's generation, partly because the equipment and the ball is so much, the courses are so much better manicured, so you can actually control the shots better. And these type of courses where you've got to plot your way around, a little bit like a game of chess, the strategy, get on a level, flat part of the fairway, leave yourself a distance that's a full shot. And it takes a while. You're not suddenly going to know this until you get the opportunity of being out on this tour. And this is why the EuroPro is such a wonderful starting place for these players.
And Hayden McCullen, one of the youngsters, looking to use this as a springboard to very big things in the game. Here's another one, Tristan Lawrence. We saw him birdie the first and the second. He then parred the third.
Nice contact. You could hear a good crack on the golf ball, and here it comes. Yeah, great shot. Very, very good.
Well, he's off to a flying start today. Let's go out to Kit on the first green.
McCullen's pin high and on the correct here. It's a decent look at birdie. James, on the other hand, has left his shot short, and I cannot tell you how difficult this putt is. It's uphill, then down a ravine, up again. It's got 2, maybe 3 breaks. This is not the one you want on the first green, but a 2-putt here will really settle him into the round.
Well, let's see how James gets on. Winner of the Lookers Championship a fortnight ago at Close House. I think he's still wearing the same shirt, Gary.
Yes, he's obviously got a favourite. That's in a Tiger Woods mould. And has he been able to do what Kit has told us? And that is a very good effort. And that's really it, what we were talking about, the course management. You know, maybe a slight mishit, just a misjudgment. And on modern greens, where you've almost got 4 flat areas in big Humpty Hollowed greens, you've got to get on that right level. But it looks like he's going to start off with the par.
This is for Lawrence to go into the outright lead. He very nearly did. But he'll certainly make his birdie and get into a tie for the lead. He's played this hole in 4 under for the week. 2 birdies and an eagle in between. No wonder he's smiling. Now McCullen with his chance to get into double figures. Oh, what a start. Only the 4th birdie at the first hole today, Gary, and you look at this green, it's not hard to see why.
No, all of those birdies that we've seen, the players have got on the right level, the right tier of the green, where there's not too much break. And you know, if you can get in the right place, the greens are superb, so you will make a few putts if you're not too far away with that first attempt.
Ooh, just about for Richard James, but he gets it to stay 1 behind, and that's a decent par at the first. Young Hayden McCullen then with a birdie at the first to go into the outright lead. Another youngster, Tristan Lawrence, just 1 back after his explosive start. Sam Robertshaw also keeping himself in the hunt with 2 birdies in the early stages of his round. McCullen out in front then, but it's still very early stages in this final round of the Pentahotels Championship at Caversham Heath.
Welcome back to the Pentahotels Championship. Now, did you know that the Maple Durham or Maple Tree Enclose appears in the Doomsday Book as 2 manors, the Maple Durham Gurney and the Maple Durham Chesney? In 1588, Sir Michael Blount, the then owner, took out a loan of £1,500 to build the present-day house. Seems like a pretty good investment. The Eagle has landed, Miss Marple, Midsummer Murders and Sharp have all filmed here at the Maple Durham estate, and now you can add the PGA EuroPro Tour to that list. Yes, we're making scenes here, so let's get straight back to the action and join Gary and Michael.
Interesting to hear they made some of the Eagle has landed here. The Eagle almost landed for Tristan Lawrence at the 4th, but his birdie has gotten to 9 under, and in that group sharing 2nd place, 1 behind McCullen.
And now we have a look at the 2nd hole. Again, if you just look at the yardage, something 386, pretty innocuous, but you can see there 11 other scores. Just shows how thick this rough is, and if you get a bit wayward, going for a big hit up by the green, But really, at the look of it, it's all in front of you. You can see this. Put something down in play, 220 or so yards off the tee, a 4-iron, and just leave yourself a pitching wedge to a reasonably big green. Again, some slopes on it, but you know, this should offer a chance under still conditions for a birdie for these players.
And they are the conditions we have for these early stages of the final round. As you say, though, it is expected to pick up a bit later. Will this man still be out in front?
If he keeps finding fairways and greens, he's going to be there or thereabouts.
Now this is back to Lawrence. 3 birdies in the first 4 holes today, and he's birdied this hole in both rounds.
Launches one up into the beautiful blue sky, and a great shot. It's just over the back of the green, but the lie looks reasonably good. That was a fine shot. Must have looked fantastic from his end, Michael.
Indeed. Jack South, we saw him birdie the 3rd earlier. He's just given the shot back at the 5th, but gets it straight back again. That's the way to respond. Now we've already seen Tristan Lawrence make a rare birdie start. Can Hayden McCullen do the same? Give himself a chance, yes. Oh. Well, that's just showing off for it to finish like that.
That's tremendous. It's full 360, down it went.
And two very good putts on very difficult greens he's holed.
Very difficult. You could see the slope on that. You read it beautifully. All putts are about line and length, but when you've got big slopes like that, it's very tough. Well judged. Now, can Lawrence get a little chip in? I was going to say, I didn't say anything. Hardly even managed to get the contact on the ball.
Well, that makes you feel a little silly when it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It was awkward, though. He was almost too close to the hole. Spectacular biplane there, flying over.
Wilkinson is 5 behind, needs to get something going. He sets up a birdie chance there. Now Cunningham in a spot of bother here, Gary, at the 3rd.
Yes, he's down there not far away from the 4th tee, and thick grass, but he's managed to slide the club very nicely under the ball. Probably almost did better than he thought from where he was out of that lie. I suspect he was thinking he may not be able to stop it short of the pin, but he's given himself a chance.
Now we saw Britton birdie the 4th earlier. He's looking for another birdie here at the longest of the par 5s, and he gets it. Nicely done. Cunningham has only made 1 cut out of 6 so far this season, so a good chance today to make up a lot of ground in the race to Desert Springs. He's down at number 136 at the moment. Oh, and that's a bit unfortunate, Gary, just a little too much pace.
Yeah, it was. It looked as though it was going to go right in the middle and then just dived a fraction left and caught it. Frustrating, but the damage was really done by missing the green.
Wilkinson with very little work to do here for his birdie. Birdie's the 4th in all 3 rounds. Gets this round off and running now with his first birdie.
Very dapper in the blue, and the shoes with the blue highlights as well.
Here's another man in blue, and he'll be feeling blue after that chip that he had, which has left him with this to save par. And that's going to be a first dropped shot of the day for young Tristan Lawrence. Don't see many players playing in spectacles these days, Gary.
No, it's you don't. I guess with corrective surgery and contact lenses.
So Hayden McCullen's birdie start puts him on 11 under par. He's 2 ahead of Richard James, who's opened up with a couple of pars. And despite dropping that shot at the 5th, it's still a good start for Lawrence. He joins Mason, Lasky and Cunningham on 8 under, with Wilkinson also still very much in the picture, 4 off the lead.
So, back to the bespectacled Mr. Lawrence. It was always a thing. I mean, I wore glasses and changed. Oh no. Oh, has that gone in the water? Dear. That really was a bit clumsy.
what a par 5 it is. 552 yards, bunker in the middle of the fairway for the boys. If they want to get past it, they've got to hit it 312 yards to get it past there, and that'll give them a good chance to get to the green into. Obviously, this side of the pond is yellow stakes, so different rules compared to the 16th, which is over there, and you can just see how beautiful this big green is when you get up on it. If you get down low with me, come down here, look at this. You can just see the contours of this green, and they are so severe. Absolutely beautiful pin positions you can have all day long. I'm going to roll one for you. Now get this one. Come a little bit up here with me. Now you got the pin over there, that's the 16th. You're going to be able to see this for yourself. PJ's just done his pin positions as well around here. What's this one? I've sent it way over on the left hand side. What's this one? Bring back, up, down, swing, swing. Here it comes from left to right. It's disappeared on you, isn't it? You can't see it anymore. What a hole, what a green.
Yeah, they really are challenging greens here, Gary, and it can be very difficult for a referee like yourself to find pin positions on a lot of these newer courses.
It's very true, it is difficult, particularly in the morning when you get distracted by watching the wildlife like that run across. But no, a lot of the modern greens are, they're enormous, but they actually tend to have sort of 4 flat areas, quite small, and great big changes in elevation. So when we're trying to set pins as referees, we're sometimes limited into the area that you can put them, and you've got to be careful you don't end up with 2 or 3 holes in a very small area. So it's a challenge all round.
Now we saw Cunningham dropping a shot at the 3rd, but he's looking to give himself a chance here to get that straight back, maybe even another one on top.
Yeah, as we take a look at the South African. Again, this 7-8 footer to save his par, and now another one goes begging.
Yeah, it's 2 bogeys in a row, and he really doesn't like this hole. He's bogeyed it all 3 days, and you can see what he thinks of that. And he's got to control those emotions now, hasn't he, Gary, when he's starting to struggle just a little bit.
Yeah, this is a sort of golf course you're going to be up and down in your scoring, and it's tough, as you can see from there how thick the grass is, and you're just never quite sure how the ball's going to come out. And of course we've got, as we've often said, perhaps the strongest player on tour extricating himself from there.
Yeah, and that was actually his 3rd shot, because he's already taken a drop on that hole. So problems for Lasky at the 4th. Wilkinson going along nicely now. And maybe a chance of another birdie now on 6.
Pretty brave shot there to just drop it over the pond and let it feed onto the green. Good effort. As we go back to the trials and tribulations of Mark Lasky. High flying 4th shot over the bunker, trying to stop the ball quickly. Got the length perfect, but accuracy slightly off.
Gives himself a chance of salvaging par there. Wilkinson now looking for his 2nd birdie of the day. Oh, how has that not gone in? I think we'll give him that one, Gary.
Yeah, I think that's certainly have to do something very odd to miss. You'd have to miss the ball, I think, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Cunningham now for his eagle. This would really get his challenge off and running. Again, you see, just not that long a putt, Gary, but still so difficult because of those undulations.
Very hard coming out of a big gully, the pin only just on the flat part, so of course it's running so slowly as it takes the whatever break as it comes onto the flatter part. So difficult to judge.
Well, Richard James judged that pretty well, but again, just a little too much pace. Didn't play last week, so this is his 1st appearance since that breakthrough win that he had at Close House. All par so far for Lasky.
Well, it was certainly very adventurous, but I have to say, what a massive drive he'd had to start off with down there.
Yeah. And that is Mark Lasky, as we say, looking to become the latest in a series of Welsh winners on the EuroPro Tour. Golfing idol, the late great Seve Ballesteros, 5 times major champion. And Mark has been talking to Kit Alexander.
And having come so close to getting your Challenge Tour card numerous occasions before, how difficult is it to keep the motivation levels when you know you're kind of at the level you need to be, but it's maybe not quite happening?
I think you need a little bit of luck just to progress. I feel like my game's improved every year, so I take that positive each year. If I feel like I was stagnating, I'd be a little concerned, but everything's always improving, so I think eventually you're going to get where you want to get to.
Is this course somewhere you thought you'd play well and suits your game?
Yeah, I feel like if I'm keeping it in play off the tee, I can play well anywhere. So here suits me. There's a lot of good birdie chances. Greens are nice. I'm putting nice, so it should suit me hopefully.
The wind's starting to get up a little bit. It's a little bit gusty. What kind of challenge does that pose to you as players?
I think with wedges and wind, you've got to really control your spin a bit more. The greens are a bit firm, so you could run off into some nasty places. So I think just play for a little bit lower coming in. That should be fine.
Cunningham now to tidy up at the 4th, looking to birdie it for the 2nd day in a row. And no problem for him at all. And that's his first birdie of the day. So Hayden McCullen has parred the 3rd. He stays 2 clear of Cunningham, who have just seen, and also Richard James, who's looking for his 2nd win of the season. Tristan Lawrence has fallen away a bit after a bright start. 5 off the lead now. He needs to recover his form. Now let's go out to Kit, who's with the leader at the 4th.
After hitting his first tee shot out of bounds into the trees behind us, McCullen has flirted with danger again. His heart must have been in his mouth as it was in the air. But now it's good. Down the right-hand side, opens up the green. He will have a chance to save a bogey, perhaps. Richard James, on the other hand, is just off the left edge of the fairway, but he's got a great look at the green. It's opened the hole up for him. Potential eagle, at least birdie. That'll be the kickstart his round needs.
So here is McCullen. Now he's playing the provisional from where Kit was just standing a moment ago. McCullen has already been a winner at Prince's almost a year ago. Oh, and more trouble.
She's certainly been a bit wild here. That first tee shot was a long way wide, although I accept he may have been trying to get down the right-hand side, but at the moment he's compounding error upon error.
Yeah. Scotland's Fraser Moore had bogeys at the 3rd and the 4th. He got one back though at the 6th, and he's looking for another one at the 7th. And he gets it. Birdie 7 for the 2nd day in a row. The man from Glenbervie Golf Club. Now, we said the wind was going to pick up, Gary. You can hear it, you can see it as well, and it's causing all sorts of problems now for the players. This is Nick Cunningham looking for his ball at the 5th.
Yes, it suddenly, although it was forecast to come up, it sort of sprung up all of a sudden, and it's thrown a spanner into some works.
This 4th hole was one of 2 that Richard James eagled yesterday. He won't eagle it today, but he might make his birdie. And the course has just changed so suddenly, Gary. You can see now the wind really picking up.
You certainly can. The trees are whipping around, and the flags and flag sticks are bouncing. Let's see whether Lasky can do what he said and play some lower shots as we go back to McCullen.
Oh dear.
Trying to play a high-flighted, floating flop shot from there, and he's got the club too much under the ball, and now he's under the lip of the bunker.
And for such a young and still inexperienced player, Gary, it's a real challenge now for McCullen to keep his head.
Yeah, it would be very tempting to end up with what's obviously going to be quite a big number here already, and then completely lose your head. And you could see there, Michael, he obviously didn't have a very good lie, having come in from such a great height. I don't think the ball was actually plugged, but it obviously wasn't sitting very well.
No.
And he's then had to drive it out, and he's still not on the green.
He really is looking at a massive number there now and undoing all the good work he put in early on. And this is the joint overnight leader, Cunningham. He's having his problems at the 5th. And that was for bogey, so all sorts of players among the leaders having big setbacks here. It's going to make it a very interesting finish, Gary, with all these big numbers being run up.
Yeah, it sort of makes, you know, when we looked at the statistics and saw big numbers of others, and it's been pretty benign, so goodness knows how many others we could end up seeing this afternoon.
And that putt from James was effectively to go into the outright lead, given McCullen's horror show. What's going on here at the fourth? Now Lasky continuing the search for his first birdie of the day.
Should come just a little bit from the right. I think he knew the line, just didn't hit it quite hard enough to hold that line.
Now back to McCullen, and this, I'm afraid, is for a quadruple bogey. And from 2 under for the round to 2 over for the round in one hole, and that is going to be very hard to recover from.
This hole just goes to show how tight the margin for error is and how quickly things can change at this level of the game. In one hole, a 2-shot lead has been wiped out by a quadruple bogey 9. He's now 3 shots off of Richard James, who's just birdied this hole to leap into the lead. What drama have we got left to unfold here? Quite incredible this early in the round.
So McCullen back to -7. Cunningham is going to go back to -7 as well. Not the greatest of starts from him. He has had a birdie, but he's also had a bogey and now a double bogey in the first 5 holes. But as Kit was saying, that birdie at the fourth putting Richard James in the outright lead now, and suddenly he's got a 2-shot advantage over Mason and Lasky. McCullen falls back into the pack after his troubles at the fourth, and Connor Fletcher has just eagled the 11th to move up there to 6 under par.
Well, here at Caversham Heath, we're on the putting green, and I want to give you a few tips to try and improve your putting during the course of the year and go on to bigger and better things in the future. Now, you know, there's more than one way you can do things. You know, there's many ideas on how to grip the club, how to put a stroke on it, to read the putts and do everything like that. But I always think, first things first, get the grip sorted. Now, it doesn't matter how you do it as long as it feels comfortable. I always like the conventional grip, or you go the old Jordan Spieth. Bit of a cack-handed, but he likes to look at the hole at the same time and putt like that. And also you've got Jack Nicklaus, the legend himself. You know, his putting routine was kind of knees nearly touching one another, and his hands were forward, his head was back, he was looking down his line, he was always having a look at it. Remember that famous putt at the Masters when he's looking down the green, it goes in, he gives it, whoa. Now there's no right way, there's no wrong way, it's just what feels confident to you.
Welcome back to the Pentahotels Championship, where the early holes and the strengthening winds are throwing up all kinds of challenges for the title hopefuls here at Caversham Heath.
Lovely red kite there, looking for a little lunch. And I must say that golf courses are fabulous places to see the wildlife.
Nick Cunningham at the 6th, which has been good to him so far. He's birdied it in both round 1 and 2. Maybe even better today.
A very impressive approach.
Just as you were talking about looking for birdies, he's gone looking for an eagle.
Yeah.
Now Wilkinson.
Hold, 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 hold. And again, you can see there it's that false front on the green, and it shed the ball off 3 feet and looked fairly flat. Leaves a difficult putt.
Cunningham dropped 2 shots at the 5th, could get them both back immediately. Oh, good effort. So his topsy-turvy start to the round continues.
Yeah, rueful sort of shake of the head from his caddy.
Now Wilkinson, again a putt which is made so much more difficult by the nature of these greens. He looks to have judged this well. He's judged it perfectly. What an effort that is, Gary.
That was really a fine effort, as you can see there as he walked up. That's a big rise. Very, very good effort.
And into a tie for second place, 2 off the lead. Could be about to get even closer because Richard James, as you can see, is having problems here at the 6th.
Well, we're here at the longest par 4 on the golf course, the 7th, 466 yards, and what a beauty it is. 2 beautiful bunkers on the left-hand side facing at you, but they're not really in play because they're at 220, 230 off the tee, so you can take it over those. It kind of disappears on you, this fairway as well. About the 230, 240 mark, it just sloops down and then rises up to the green, but all the way down the right-hand side, you've got tall trees, thick bushes, and long grass. Anything down that right-hand side is reload all day long. You'll be hitting 3 off the tee. Now, just as a good aim point, because it disappears on you, this fairway, just look at that green. I know it's 466 yards away. You might need your goggles on to see that far. You just never know, but I tell you what, just give it a crack. Focus hard and put a good swing on it. And I like that one. A little bit right-sided, drifting on the wind. It's going to propel the ball further forward. Hopefully that's short of the bushes, and if that is, that ain't a bad line in.
Well, it looks like Mark Lasky has hit his drive pretty similar place to where John hit his.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that, just off the fairway, but a good lie. Flight one in high over that bunker, we can see.
3 top 10 finishes already this season. Tied 3rd at Burr Hill in the IFX Championship, the best so far for him. Now, Richard James, we saw him at the 6th. His second shot did go into the water. He's taken a drop, gone back, and now playing his 4th from here. Needs to get up and down to save his par. Oh, and he might just do that.
Yeah, that's a very good shot. Good. Now, that is good course management, because he went further back there to allow himself, which the rules allow, keeping the point of entry, and he was able to play a fuller shot and spin the ball.
It's not going to be easy for that from there for Cunningham at the 7th.
No, and that's what we're now seeing with the wind just blowing. If you get one downwind like that, it just firm green, and it's a very awkward chip.
James tidies up to stay 2 clear. Really good up and down, showing good composure there. A bit of an erratic round so far for Cunningham.
Roll out. Yeah, good effort, mate.
He's given himself a reasonable chance, saving par there on 7. This is Ashley Mason. He's played 8 events so far this year. He's missed the cut in all of them. Bogeyed the 7th today, otherwise all pars.
And that really is, that's a fine shot there. It's a great chance of bouncing straight back from his drop shot.
And you look at the position he's in, Gary, and the way the prize funds are structured on this tour, no matter what position you're in, you get a win at this stage of the campaign, you're back in the running for one of those 5 Challenge Tour cards.
That's very true. You know, it's a good first prize, and you can. One victory, and there's enough events to have a chance of going straight to the Challenge Tour.
Robert Shaw, a bit of a mixed day for him. 2 early birdies, but stalled a bit since then. Birdied the 11th yesterday, and he's eagled it today. I think that celebration is entirely justified. Great effort. And Lasky to make it 7 pars out of 7. It's his first drop shot since the 16th in round 1, so that's 26 holes without a bogey, coming to an end.
So after that excellent approach, can Mason make his birdie? He certainly can. Very, very good.
Yeah, it's his first of the day, out in 37, which is level par for the front 9 here. Represents Glen Gorse near Leicester.
Yeah, get up and
And
down, mate.
Nick Cunningham steadied things quite nicely after that double bogey on 5. And 2 behind the leader, Richard James, who's effectively going for back-to-back wins in a sense because he sat out last week. Been tidy stuff so far from Wilkinson. Gary, no drop shots yet?
No, he's managed himself around the course very well. And I think he expected that. The lie obviously wasn't too bad, and it's come up short, so you think, was it tangled up? But I just think he expected it to jump out a bit more. And it looks like he's caught the bunker at the front.
Now McCullen, we saw his 9 at the 4th. He followed it with a couple of pars. And indeed, they're both having problems on this hole, this group. There could, in fact, be a change in leadership because Richard James lost his second shot. He went out of bounds. You see him there on the green. He's there for 4.
We have a look at McCullen, choosing to play a sort of firm-wristed chip shot. Oh, and do you see there, Michael, just as that
Caught his
came
phone.
through? Yeah, the butt of the club caught his phone. That's very strange. Got to keep clear pockets.
Says it all about these youngsters, doesn't it, Gary? He is no longer a teenager, as we were saying, just turned 20 the other day. Only been a pro since last year, but he's already won on this tour at Prince's last September, and he's been talking to Kit.
You won on the EuroPro Tour last season. How important is it to be able to draw on that experience today?
Yeah, it is. Like, it's good to know that I can go out there and like get over the line, but like I said yesterday, it's a new day and like a completely different year, so you just got to take it as it comes.
Your season started off a little bit slowly this year. Was that a bit disappointing, having got the first win under your belt?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like I wasn't playing bad, but I just wasn't playing well enough to like start competing. I made like quite a lot of cuts, but just wasn't playing good enough golf to be up at the top of the leaderboard, unfortunately.
Let's just look at that incident with the phone again, Gary, and it's a bit careless. You can't really believe he's left his phone in his pocket like that.
No, you know, when I played, all I wanted was half a dozen tee pegs, a pitchfork. You just don't want too much in your trousers. It impedes your swinging and everything, and it's just a distraction that you can do without.
I wonder how long it'll be before we see a player put off his own stroke by his own phone ringing or vibrating. Anyway, Lasky continuing the search for his first birdie of this final round at the shortest hole on the course, and I think he's going to get it, Gary.
I think he is. That's certainly a fine shot, not far away from a 1.
So James, after his problems here, now needs this to retain the outright lead. This is for bogey.
He's running well from long distance. Yeah, I think he'll be pleased with that and glad to see the back of the hole.
And from 2 shots clear, he falls back into a tie for the lead with 3 Englishmen, Wilkinson, Mason and Cunningham. So here is the new joint leader. Wilkinson needs this to stay there, though. And gets it. Now McCullen with a huge amount of work to do for his par here on 7. In danger of falling out of contention, having been in such a strong position not so long ago. There'll be another shot gone, and those 2 back-to-back birdies with which he started the round will seem like a long time ago now. And yet, still only 2 off the lead.
So, Mark Lasky, firm right in the middle. Oh, just a nasty, you see from his gesture, just a nasty little shove to the right. Yuck.
So frustrating after an excellent tee shot, and misses his chance to go into a share of the lead.
A puff of the cheeks, a shake of the head.
So James Wilkinson still hasn't dropped a shot. He's now in a tie for the lead on 8 under with Ashley Mason, who's had his first birdie of the day on the 9th. Cunningham and James over par for the day, but 8 under for the tournament. Robert Shaw and Lasky both 1 behind. Fletcher, Britton, Wrigley and McCullen still in the running.
Well, pace putting, making your line, trusting your line is everything when it comes down to the short game. Putting is essential. If you don't hold putts, you will not win tournaments. That is guaranteed. Now, I just put a little bit of a cocoon kind of style behind the hole right there, and you can see that. It just shows you my perception that I want to get the ball past the hole. The 2 wide balls are just about an inch, 2 inches past the hole. The other ones are about a good 12, 16 inches. Now, I was very fortunate when I come down the middle of this hole here. you'll see this, you know, I can get a really good read that this green is sloping severely from left to right on my putt right now. And there was many moons ago, it's got to be, oh my goodness, let me think, 11, 12 years ago, Tiger Woods, me and him, I was on the putting green, I was really struggling, I was a belly putter at the time, so I was like there, and I was just there going, Tiger, can I ask you a favour? Can I have a tip, 1 or 2 tips off you, mate? And he said, do you know what, pace is everything. If the pace ain't right, you're never going to hold it. And I thought to myself, is it that simple? Is it really that simple? So I came back here and he said, well, John, if you think of it, he said, say you pick the right line. And he said, say this one's 2 foot outside the left. He said, if you hit it too hard, it's never going to go in, is it? He said, if you hit it too soft, it's going to come up short. I went, yeah, he's right. You know, so he always said, just see that ball dying in the hole. Just like when he won Hoylake by a million shots, pretty much, you know. And I tell you what, he just stood there and it was all like, get a nice feel for the ball, nice feel for the putt. So I just stood there and all I did was pace putt for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, till it was time for lunch. And I just stood there, seen the ball go off, and it takes a break. Oh, look at that, see? That just shows you my pace was slightly off, just slightly less of where I needed to be, and that's come up just shy of the hole. Now, for you guys at home, you'll just see what happened there. Just really bent right across the hole, but like Tiger said, if that ball hasn't got the beans to get into that hole, you know, not enough energy, you're never going to hole them.
And welcome back to the Pentahotels Championship here at Caversham Heath. I'm joined now by one of our sponsors, Andrew Munt. Thank you for joining me on the show. Now tell me, how did you get involved with the EuroPro Tour?
When we were first approached and we saw the opportunity, it was kind of a given. It just made perfect sense for us. As a rule, sport plays a massive part in our culture and our brand. There are so many similarities between what we do and I guess what sportsmen, sportswomen try to do. In that we're young, we're ambitious, we're really clear on our growth strategy and where we want to go and how we want to succeed and how we ultimately want to win. We want to be a part of inspiring young people. We want to, so hopefully people are going to see this sort of thing, see that we're involved in it and are kind of going to appreciate the efforts.
And what do you think about the course here at Caversham Heath?
Stunning, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. Greenkeepers have done a great job for us, and the other nice thing as well that it's been really good to hear is listening to them in the bar talking about how fantastic the staff at Caversham Heath have been, and just the friendliness, the atmosphere up here this week's been great. So I think it's credit to everyone for a great event.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew. I do hope you enjoy the tournament this week, and now I think I'll hand you back over to the capable hands of Gary Ellis and Michael McMullen.
Thanks very much, Sian. Well, Sam Robertshaw's now moved into that group. It's now a 5-way tie for the lead on 8 under. He's just birdied the 12th. Hayden McCullen, though, is bogeyed the 8th. He's now dropped 6 shots in 5 holes, and at 5 under, he's disappeared off that first page of the leaderboard altogether.
So as we take a look at the par 3 13th, 202 yards. The difficulty here is it's a very long green but sits at an angle of sort of 8 o'clock through to 2 o'clock relative to the tee, and although it's very long, it's very narrow as you play in over these bunkers, these 3 bunkers. So club selection is all important, and again we're faced with the runoffs and the very undulating green. A challenge.
Robertshaw facing that challenge now. Would have been so disappointed, Gary, the way he missed the chance to win on his home course by falling away in the final round last week. So this is a good response from him.
Yeah, no, he's come back playing well, strong, and hopefully has learnt from that experience, and if he gets the opportunity again, he'll grasp it.
Mason now, one of those 5 players now sharing the lead. Such a remarkable thing about golf, isn't it, Gary? You know, he's struggled all season. Now the first time he makes a cut, suddenly he's battling to win the title. Yeah, it is. It's remarkable, and shows what small changes there are between being an also-ran and a champion. Richard James at the shortest of the par 4s leaves himself that putt to regain the outright lead.
So following a very good tee shot, Robertshaw, his birdie attempt. Pretty good run at it, but he's left himself a little bit of work to do.
Back to Mason now.
Yes, we saw him from the bunker to now chipping over another bunker. And again, the wedges, and the guys get such a good contact, they sometimes get a little bit too much spin on them and leave themselves further away than they intended.
I was mentioning there, Wilkinson hasn't dropped a shot all day. He's in danger of doing it here at 11.
Yeah, that was an awkward chip. Downhill, downwind, everything running away.
And Mason to retain his share of the lead.
I think the wind is certainly getting stronger and stronger. You look at the ragwort, pretty as it is in the background, blowing about all over the place.
Big day for Ashley Mason as he chases this win. 23 years of age, attached to Glen Gorse, as I mentioned earlier. His golfing hero, Sergio Garcia. His favourite course, Woburn, venue for the British Masters won by Matt Fitzpatrick last year.
To be honest, I'm just happy to be here on a Friday rather than being back at Leicester playing golf and practising, getting a bit of stick from the lads. But no, it's great. Yesterday I was a bit nervous, obviously, with having not made a cut. I went out there and I got off on a bit of a heater at the start, and I managed to just ride the wave whilst I was out there, and I can't explain how it happened. It's just sort of, it's not felt any different the game-wise to how it has all year, but I got a couple of breaks, hold a couple of putts and put a score together. As I say, it doesn't feel any different, so I'm just going to go out there and try and play my own game again this week. I've tried to stay off my phone, not looking at the leaderboards, and I did that. I was pretty good with that yesterday, so yeah, managed to just focus on what I'm doing, which is all I'm going to try and do today.
There's already been one sporting miracle in the Leicester area this year. Is Ashley Mason going to create another one today? Richard James now looking to birdie the 9th for the 2nd day in a row. Out in level par 37, back into the lead on his own. Robert Shaw now needs this par putt, Gary. Important not to lose the momentum he's built up.
Very much so. Firm just inside the left lip. Yeah, job done.
Wilkinson now, this to avoid his first dropped shot of the day. He was walking after it straight away. Suddenly he's 2 behind, because that birdie at the 9th has taken Richard James to 9 under, so he goes 1 ahead of Robert Shaw, the man in form, and Cunningham, and then Wilkinson, Mason and Lasky on 7 under.
Well, we're here at the 14th, par 4, 444 yards, all the fours you like, and I tell you what, you'll take a 4 all day long, every day of the week. Now, the fairway bottleneck's here, and it's only 11 yards wide. You've got a bunker here, it's 285 yards off the tee, 150 yards left to go to the green. So a really good catch point and a bailout area for the players. If you go anywhere down the left, I mean, just look how thick and gooey that stuff is over there. You just do not want to be down there. If you pull your drive or slightly push it, if you're a left-hander, you're going to be trying to muscle one out and probably hurt your wrist trying to get to the green. Now, I've just put my ball in the middle of this fairway. Like I say, bottleneck's at 11 yards wide, so it's nothing, you know, it's so tight in the landing area. This one now, just a little 150 yards. The green is absolutely fantastic. It slopes severely from back to front and left to right as well. Beautiful bunkers wrapped around it, and it's essential to hit the putting surface, because if you don't, because we've had a lovely summer, it's pretty bouncy. There we go. Well, there's a tall, high-flying one, drawing in on the pin. Now be the club. Get there. Oh, middle of the dance floor. Rock on, Tommy.
There's a bit more room off the tee than there was at the Army Club last week, Gary, but if you miss those fairways, the penalty's just as severe.
Oh, it certainly is. I mean, the grass is very long, tangly, and with the wind up and bouncy as it's been dry over this last month, it's not easy.
Robert Shaw not going to be happy with that approach to 14. He's making a really good charge in this final round. But is it going to stall here? Wilkinson just dropped his first shot of the day at the 11th. But setting up a chance to make immediate amends. Represents Penrith Golf and Foot Golf Centre, Gary. Have you tried foot golf at all?
I haven't tried foot golf. I have seen it, and I have to say it's very popular. The places that have foot golf, there's a lot of people, not just youngsters, all sorts of people having a go at foot golf. And for me, if it's a chance that opens up the playing of our wonderful game and they approach it by their feet first of all, so be it.
Robert Shaw giving himself a chance to save par there at 13. Now Wilkinson can get back to only one behind here. Oh, and he has, Gary.
That's a great putt, and deserved, because it was a bold approach to take on that pin tucked in that little tongue of green there. He played a super shot and rounded it off with a great putt. Good man.
You can see the adrenaline just flowing through him there. Such a big chance for him. And this is a really big chance now for Ashley Mason. This is to share the lead once again. Never really gave it much of a chance, but he's going to birdie the 11th for the second day in a row.
It's one of those putts that's incredibly hard. You can see the ridge. Almost the higher you go up the ridge, the more it just feeds off it. And I think occasionally there's putts that you almost can't hole, and that might well have been one.
I know all about those putts, Gary. That's pretty much every putt for me. Now, this is Robert Shaw. It's index 1 this hole, so par wouldn't be a bad effort. And he's done well there.
Very good format.
Still holding on to that momentum on this run that he's got in this final round. So Richard James on 9 under par with 8 to play leads the Pentahotels Championship by 1, but Robert Shaw, Wilkinson, Mason and Cunningham all just one behind. Lasky trails by 2. Fletcher may be running out of holes, but who knows if he can put in a big finish.
Well, we've talked about the grip, we've talked about the pace of the putts and the reading of the greens, but now it comes to the bread and butter. This is where it all counts. Knee knocking putts, you know, the downhillers left to right, so the straight uphillers, bang them in the back of the hole. This one here, you know, you kind of just get the ball moving. All you got to do is like blow on it, and you know it's going to get past the hole. So you have to pick your line, you have to trust it, you have to believe it, and just commit to it and send the ball on motion. Hopefully it disappears on you. As I've sent that one off, I've just hit it straight through the break, and that's back down. Look at that. I tell you what, that just tells you I haven't been playing enough golf. But then you come up to the uphillers, dead straight. These are the ones you really want to be positive with. Stand there, nice wide stance, and bang it in the back of the hole. Boom. They're the type of putts you need to hold day in, day out. But there's only one hint I can give you and one tip I can give you. Just practice, practice, practice makes perfect.
Welcome back, everyone through the turn then, and at least half a dozen players still in with a shout in the final round of the Pentahotels Championship at Caversham Heath. That man Richard James out in front looking for his second win in 3 weeks. He's 9 under par with 8 holes to go, but a big group coming just behind him. And it includes this man, James Wilkinson. That birdie at the 12th, very timely for him, Gary.
It certainly was, yes. It's put him in good stead. That's a magnificent tee shot, that really is. So let's take a look at the 15th, the par 5, which is playing the easiest hole on this final day. Very straight away hole, some bunkers to avoid, but really the key to making your birdie here is probably not to be too aggressive. Get a good tee shot in play, hit your second shot up, avoiding that long thin bunker, and leave yourself a nice medium distance pitch that you can control. Get the ball inside 10 feet, roll the putt in, birdie. Thank you very much.
Well, this is where Robert Shaw has landed his drive. Just one shot off the lead. Oh, and setting himself up with a chance here to go one in front.
That was a great shot. He really didn't hold back on that. Having said that it was a good play to play up short, he obviously could reach, and he's reached magnificently.
Ashley Mason, meanwhile, has bogeyed the 12th, so he's back to 7 under, 2 behind. Meanwhile, Wilkinson looks for back-to-back birdies. Not quite.
After such a good tee shot, I'd be a bit annoyed with himself there. Shake of the head. March off.
Now, Nick Cunningham has found some problems here on the 12th. His drive has landed in the rough on the right-hand side of the fairway, and everyone's helping there to try and find it. Meanwhile, Robert Shaw with as short an eagle putt as you're likely to see in many a day. He's eagled both par 5s on the back 9. 5 under for the last 5 holes. What a charge. And it swept him into a 1-stroke lead. Now Cunningham back to his problems at the 12th, and he's in a bit of danger of maybe blowing his chances here.
He's on, but that's a very awkward putt. Robert Shaw short-sided himself a bit here.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Really have no clue what he was trying to do with that, but it certainly wasn't that outcome.
And that could not be more at odds with the way he's been playing over the last few holes. He's looked so in control of things.
I really have no clue what on earth happened there.
Now Cunningham, could this be where his challenge falters at the 12th? And suddenly he's 4 shots behind now, and that's assuming he finishes off that one. So after that wild shot from Robert Shaw, again he's enlisted a few volunteers to help him look for this. It's going to be hard to find in there, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that far away, but it went racing in like a startled rabbit.
We're seeing everything at the moment. Eagles, double bogeys. Meanwhile, Lasky makes that for a par.
It's all very entertaining though, Michael.
It's fantastic. This is great stuff. This is how golf should be. You know, you don't want to see just birdie after birdie. You like to see players having opportunities to get good scores, but struggling a bit as well at times. Now, this is Sean Whiffen. He's only played 1 event so far, tied 23rd at the Army Club last week. Had a good 69 in the 2nd round here. Not doing too much today, but this is to get to 4 under, and he does. Looks very cool about it, Gary, as if he does that every time.
Yeah, very experienced Sean Whiffen. Plays, although he hasn't played much on this tour this season, plays a lot of regional golf, PGA events.
Robert Shaw somehow managed to find his ball. Now can he somehow manage to get it on the green? Well, no. Very tough from there.
Oh, every ounce of his strength to move the ball 20 yards. Look at this early wrist break, keep still, and then thrash.
And you've got to put a lot of strength into those shots, Gary, while also not sort of swiping at the ball.
Yeah, you've got to have a lot of arm speed and strength, but you've got to keep your head and torso steady, otherwise you might miss the damn thing altogether.
Nick Cunningham, this for his 2nd double bogey of the day. Oh, it's even worse. And really now that could be the end of him in terms of trying to win this title. Never really looked like he was entirely in control of his game today, and it's really cost him there. Robert Shaw really in a stage of damage limitation now on 16.
Oh, why is there not decent sand in it?
He's still got some work to do, just to drop 2 shots. And because of Robert Shaw's troubles there, James effectively has this to jump into a 2-shot lead.
Yeah, nicely judged. He'll take that once he's tapped this in.
It's looking the most likely winner at the moment. Just heartbreaking this for Robert Shaw. So delighted to pick up 2 shots at the 15th, but hands them straight back and more at the very next hole.
I'm still fascinated as to what happened down in that bunker, whether there was no sand, whether he was just out of it.
We heard him making some comments actually that suggested there wasn't a great deal of sand in there. Anyway, after a very eventful few minutes, it's Richard James who emerges with a 1-stroke lead with 6 holes to go. James Wilkinson still very much in the running at 8 under. Robert Shaw back to 7 under alongside Mason and Lasky. And they all still have some sort of a chance. As we go to Wilkinson at the last and indeed shortest of the par 5s.
Lovely balanced rhythmical swing there with long club. Looks like a 3-wood. He's having a go up at the green and doesn't quite make it, but got a good light. We can see the ball and a bit of green to work with, so chance for still making a birdie.
Robert Shaw needs to realise he's still got a chance of winning this, but maybe less so now. Do you think that was a reaction maybe to the events in the previous hole, Gary?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's so difficult to put it out of your mind, and it's so easy to be still thinking, if only I hadn't made that mistake, and you're not really focused and another error comes in.
And Wilkinson gives himself that to go into a tie for the lead. Tied 6th at Montrose, his only top 10 so far this season. Looks like he could well be doing a good bit better today. And I think the wheel's coming off a bit for Robert Shaw. And a challenge that was looking so strong not so long ago, probably coming to an end here. And that's another shot gone. Fraser Moore, who's missed the cut in all of his last 4 events. Double bogeyed the 11th, but he can get those shots straight back here, and he does. Now that's what you call a bounce back, Gary. Double bogey, then eagle.
Oh, it's certainly what this course has given us. As we take a little look at this par 3 13th again, and you can see the bunkers guarding the front of the green itself lying at a diagonal across, and the pin there tucked right in the back corner. Difficult to get the right club in there, but a real challenge, and most players will be happy with a par.
Richard James then. We saw him finish quite strongly in his win at Close House. He didn't shrink at all on that occasion.
The wind is really starting to gust on this back 9, which is making it really difficult for the players, not only to pick the right club, but also the time to hit it. A little bit of a gust and it can make a good shot bad or a bad shot good. Both players on this par 3 will have hit what they thought were very, very good shots straight at the pin, but they've both come up about a club shy. It leaves uphill putts that they can be reasonably aggressive with though.
Now to Wilkinson now, eagled this hole in the first round, birdied it in the second. Birdied it in the third as well. 4 under for this hole for this week. Gets to 9 under, tied for the lead.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, is make hay while the sun shines, take advantage of those birdie opportunities, because the course will bite you on some other holes.
And that now means that James has this to regain the outright lead, but I think he'd take a 2-putt right now, wouldn't he, Gary?
I think so. It's big putt, big swing, big rise up to the hole. You can see there he just hasn't really judged that to perfection at all, and that's going to leave a quite swingy, very difficult par-saving putt.
Nick McCarthy from Moortown Golf Club in Leeds. Birdie putt here for a 70. Well, that's still a pretty good finish for him. 2 birdies in the last 4 holes. Tied 23rd at the Army Club last week, his best so far, but he's clearly going to do much, much better today. And for now, at least, he's the clubhouse leader.
So James to see if he can redeem matters. not to be.
And that's his first dropped shot since his double bogey at the 7th, and it means that James Wilkinson is now in the lead on his own. And what a disappointing finish for this man, Sam Robertshaw. Oh, and that just really sums up the last few holes for him, doesn't it? So eagles on 11 and 15 helped him pick up 5 shots in 5 holes, but so deflated after that triple bogey 7 at the 16th. Still looks like being his best result of the season, but oh, how it could have been so much better for him today.
Yeah, that's very, very painful.
Is Lasky finally going to get his first birdie of the day? He's been sort of hanging in all through the final round, and now he's got that elusive birdie and is only 1 off the lead.
Yeah, funny game. He's had a number of goes from half that distance and not made any.
So James Wilkinson then, now the outright leader. He's having a really good final round. He's 9 under with 2 holes to go. Lasky and James, the 2 Welshmen in pursuit, just 1 shot back. And probably now it's between those 3 for the title. James Wilkinson, with just 2 holes to play, then in pole position to claim the 2nd win of his EuroPro Tour career. We'll have the climax of the Pentahotels Championship after the break. Welcome back to the final round of the Pentahotels Championship. And the number of contenders gradually being whittled down, probably just 3 now in the running for the title. James Wilkinson 9 under, Mark Lasky and Richard James both a shot behind. You have to think it's going to be one of that trio who emerges with the title. Now Mark Lasky birdied this hole in both rounds. He can leapfrog Wilkinson and go from a shot behind to a shot in front here if he can make eagle. Not quite, but still a very decent putt, Gary.
It certainly was. That was a very good putt from that distance, and should be an easy enough tap in as we have a look at this most difficult of par 3s, the 17th. It's a fabulous hole. Water, as we can see on the right, guarded by bunkers on the left. The bunkers that you can see to the right, they are a part of the adjacent 8th hole, and at this angle a sort of pear-shaped green sitting again a little bit at an angle to the tee, so very, very difficult, as shown by the scoring.
It's funny, Gary, ever since we've become so used to seeing that 17th at Sawgrass on the TV in recent times, how many of these modern courses have a par 3 17th? There's a bit of water involved.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you look at the history of course design and everything, there were features that were prominent for a decade and things, and you've got this type of par 3 over water and very undulating greens is the thing of, well, say 15, 20 years ago when courses like this were designed and built.
Great effort there from Wilkinson. Great chance of birdie on 17. He's parred it in both rounds so far. And Lasky looks like he's going to make it 3 birdies in 3 rounds on 15. And having not made a birdie all day, he suddenly made 2 in a row and tied for the lead. Now Wilkinson, after that wonderful tee shot, to regain the outright lead. And he has done. He's hung in all day. It's a well-timed run. 3 birdies in 6 holes, and he goes to the last with a 1-shot lead. Birdies on 12, 15, and now at the short 17th as well. And Wilkinson has already won once before on the EuroPro Tour, the Scottish Masters at Montrose last year.
Fine tee shot, bounding down the fairway at 18.
And not easy to do under pressure in these circumstances.
Certainly not. And he has very much his own swing, but it's working very well today. Long extension through impact there.
McCullen absolutely crunched his drive down here on the final par 5. Then James stepped up, knocked it past him. Both of them have about 190 yards into the pin. The wind is off the left and slightly helping. It'll only be a mid-iron. If one of them can find the green here and sink a putt, that could be the momentum they need heading into the final few holes.
We saw James bogey 13. He did follow that with a par on 14, and he's now playing his second to this 15th hole, a hole which he eagled yesterday.
Made a good contact. Hear the crack up into the blue sky and right over the top of the pin. Whoa, that was some shot.
And he might just eagle it again today. Now Wilkinson, big moment for him. Last swing of the day.
A great view, isn't it, looking down there. Ball's on its way. You could see it looked as though it was homing in on the pin.
Oh, that's going to be a tricky 2-putt though, isn't it, under pressure?
It is a fine shot and sensible shot, middle of the green, but as you say, Michael, a tricky 2-putt over that ridge.
Now James, can he eagle the 15th for the second day in a row and join Wilkinson at the top? Again, you know, almost anything from distance today, Gary, they're just delighted to walk off with a 2-putt, as you would expect James to do here.
Yeah, it is. It's the nature of what David Williams designed, and you know, these are difficult greens.
This for a closing 68 for Wilkinson and a formidable clubhouse target. But I think he'll settle for that. Alex Wrigley from Hartlepool Golf Club. Been a disappointing day, just 1 birdie, 5 dropped shots. Oh, what a shot this is. Don't tell me he's holed it. He has. Someone there in the distance likening him to Justin Rose, shades of Birkdale in '98.
Yeah, a long time ago, as you say. Somebody with a good memory.
Hayden McCullen, we saw him run up a 9 at the 4th on his way to going out in 41. Been a good deal better on the back 9. He's just birdied 14. And it looks like he's going to birdie 15 as well.
So, important last couple of feet for Wilkinson, which he's done very well.
So, a solid front 9. His only drop shot all day was at the 11th. A very good finish, 3 birdies in the last 7. 69 for the second day in a row. And now the waiting game begins.
Yeah, it's very good when you've not really been up there. Only 1 top 10 finish this year.
James needs to find a couple of birdies now. He's got one there. He's played the par 5s really well this week. 10 under for them. Only Connor Fletcher on 11 under has done better on the long holes. 25 years of age, only been a pro for about a year, coming off the back of a very good amateur career. His favourite course, Keogh Island, former Ryder Cup and USPGA venue. And he's been explaining how much confidence he's got from that first win at Close House.
I think it was a massive thing for me personally, because one of my things is, you know, I lacked a bit of that self-belief in myself, and to know I can finally get the job done is huge for me. But, you know, today's going to be a different challenge. You never know what the other guys are going to do, but I just got to do what I've been doing the last couple of days, and we'll see where I'm at the end of the day.
Well, it's the end of James Wilkinson's day. 4 now. Obviously very aware he may need to go out for a playoff. He's got quite a long wait. Finished quite a bit ahead of the final groups. Hayden McCullen. Back-to-back birdies. He'll be feeling a good bit better now, Gary, after the horrors we saw from him earlier.
Yeah, he managed to steady the ship.
So James Wilkinson, after playing the last 7 holes in 3 under par, posts to 69 and a total of 10 under. Mark Lasky and Richard James both still with a few holes left to try and catch him. And Hayden McCullen moving back up the leaderboard after his late revival, but almost certainly too late now to challenge for the title.
Well, 16, par 4, golden opportunity for a birdie for the boys coming in on the closing stages. There's the tee box way back there in the far distance. You can see it's 229 yards to carry the last bunker on the right-hand side. This one, obviously, 409 yards, par 4. But if you go down the left-hand side, which is a perfect bailout zone, you're kind of blinded with your second shot coming into the green with all this gorse, water hazard and thick bushes over there on the left-hand side. Anything down the right, the more you can bite off, the better angle you got in for your second shot. Now, I've only got 100 yards in, just going to lob it up there. The greens are receptive, you can pitch it all the way, it will spin. This one high, straight at it, go a bit more. Oh, look at that. I've pitched that way short of the green. It just shows you how hard it is around these edges. That has just propelled the ball on there and actually given myself a chance for a birdie. What a hole.
Well, James needs at least one birdie in the last 3 holes, Gary, and of those 3 holes, this is by far his best chance of getting it.
Yes, I agree, Michael. This is the best chance and maybe the only one, really. The 17 and 18 difficult.
Oh, that's not going to help his cause. Lasky also needs to find at least one birdie, but he's only got those last 2 holes left. He's given himself a chance.
That really is. That's a very, very good tee shot. Brave to go right in over the water, bunkers. Very good.
James flared his tee shot out to the right. It's in the thick rough, but it has been found by spectators. This is a real decision here. He could go for it, but there's a lot could go wrong with water short of the green. The safe play, the percentage play, is to knock it out and take your chances from there. But there's a tournament on the line.
And with Wilkinson already in at 10 under, Gary, James can't afford the luxury of being anything less than aggressive with this shot.
He can't. It's some real hay, but he's had a mighty swipe at it. This is going to sort of have to trust to the bounce, and it got a bounce forward. He nearly got a bit of luck, but it's that big kidney-shaped green with the bunker in the middle. He's unfortunately just rolled into the bunker, but hopefully not too difficult.
Now, big moment for Lasky. This to join Wilkinson in a share of the lead at just the right time.
Quick putt, left edge.
Well, no one can say he didn't give it every chance, Gary.
No, and we hit it exactly on the line that I'd picked. It touched the left lip. It just didn't break in. It wasn't going fast. Unlucky.
As we go back to Richard James in a tight spot on 16.
Yeah, this is one of those bunker shots. If you in practice you threw 2 or 3 balls down, you'd expect to hole one in 3. Not too far, not too difficult. And poof, you could really hear the clonk of the sand there. And you know, when you see a professional tapping the sand, hitting the sand like that, the problem is that where he's put his feet in, shuffled in, that's told him, and it was a different depth where the ball was, and it skinned out, hit the pin. As we move across to take a look at this 18th hole, playing the most difficult hole all week here, you hit the ball up through this valley, got to avoid these bunkers, but really the key is to stay on the fairway and then uphill to a very awkward green that falls from back to front. This is a tough finishing hole, as is shown by the scoring.
Yeah, only one player has birdied it all day, Mike Bedford, to complete his round of 74. Mark Lasky has to birdie it now to have any chance at all.
Yes, bounding up through that little valley. Very, very good tee shot. Gives himself a chance.
James Wilkinson waiting around. Richard James, of course, was in this position of waiting after he had finished at Close House, albeit not for anything like as long a period of time. Now, James has to get this, Gary, or he'll effectively need to birdie both 17 and 18.
Yeah, this is very unlucky, really, to have found that lack of sand. And, you know, it's obviously distracted him, and he's still got work to do.
Lasky, twice a winner on the EuroPro Tour, including at Moore Allerton last year. He's been knocking on the door a bit this year, but he needs to get this as close as he can to have a chance.
Just look at the slopes on that. I mean, that green looks like a hippopotamus's graveyard.
He's put himself, though, in one of the spots of the green where he might have half a chance from.
Yeah, this is good course management. You see a three-quarter swing. He's just punched the ball forward, trying to use the contours by dropping the ball at the front, letting it run up. As we go back to James, who hopefully has cleared his head and knocks this one in.
Oh, that shows a lot of character. It really does.
It does. And, you know, these are the things that happen in golf. You hope that something like that doesn't happen, but nobody said the game was fair. Unfortunately, you are going to come across situations like that, and you just have to take them.
Lasky simply has to make this. Oh, he's left it short. That's the worst thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's, you can see it. Oh, eye shut, you know.
And the weight goes on for Wilkinson. Very solid round from Lasky. 2 birdies, 14 and 15. Only 1 drop shot all day on the 7th. Shoots 72. Should at least move well up from his current placing of 19th in the race to Desert Springs. But the wait for that first win of the year goes on for someone who's been so consistent.
As we have a look at this 17th, the first of this duo of really, really tough finishing holes. 198 yards. Pond comes into play. Bunkers, you can't go out to the left. You've really just got to pick the right club, commit to your swing, and hope that you centre the hit and get it on the dance floor, and with any luck, close enough to make a birdie, which is what these players need now.
Yeah, Richard James has to birdie it, or he'll have to hold his second shot at the last, and he's had a par and a bogey on 17 so far this week. So there you see the situation. Wilkinson already in, 69, 10 under. And this has to go in now for James.
And, you know, this is not easy, coming across 2 or 3 levels of grass down onto the green. He's given it a great effort.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's the putt of the day.
That
surely
really is. That is fantastic. Because, you know, whereas he had bad luck in the bunker before, he had a bit of good luck there because the ball ran so smoothly across the green. As we take a little look up this 18th, there are the bunkers that need to be avoided, but it's really the thick grass either side. Keep it up this little valley of the fairway, and then you've got this enormously difficult green with the humps and hollows, so trying to slide the ball up onto there to the right level is really the challenge.
Well, that miraculous birdie gave James a chance. Bad news is he needs a birdie on 18, and he's played it in 3 over in the first 2 rounds. This is where he's found with his tee shot, and now here's his approach.
Go on, back you go, keep going. I have to say that's a fine effort. He's got it on that top plateau. That's the young man's going for it.
Wilkinson, the practice putting green, in case there's a playoff. There will be if Richard James holds this. Oh, and that's a poor effort, really. You don't want to be too critical in these situations, but didn't give it much of a chance.
No, didn't give any chance at all, and that is poor. And he'll be cross with himself. I mean, more than cross with himself, because, you know, that's, you know, he can't believe it, and it just didn't hit it.
And James Wilkinson is the champion. Hayden McCullen, this put the difference between tied 4th and 4th on his own. That's going to be tied 4th. And it could actually have turned out to be an awful lot worse given the way he was crumbling in the middle of the round. So Hayden McCullen, in the first tournament of his 20s, made such a bright start to the final round, but the eyes are drawn to that 9 at the 4th. A couple more bogeys after that, and in the circumstances, back in 35, a decent effort, and it's going to be his highest finish of the season. James then, this to claim a share of 2nd place with Mark Lasky. Well, it's still a good result on the back of his breakthrough win at Close House. Never really got a good run going, to be fair. Battled hard to get to 10 under. still continuing a good sequence, first and second now in his last 2 events. So a final round 69, enough for James Wilkinson to win his 2nd career title on the EuroPro Tour. Mark Lasky gets his 4th top 10 of the season, his best finish so far, as he shares 2nd place with Richard James. McCarthy and McCullen share 4th. Let's hear then from the winner, James Wilkinson.
Delighted. You know, tough out there today. Wind was blowing a gale. You know, just got stuck in and just tried to stay patient. Pin positions were really tricky and absolutely over the moon, yeah.
We saw it was a real struggle out there and not too many birdies. Just how good was your final round?
Yeah, a little blip on the par 5, but apart from that, hit some good iron shots in nice places, so there wasn't too much pressure on the putter, but just got stuck in and got the job done.
Well, Matthew Court didn't tee it up this week. Billy Hemstock and Greg Payne did, but both had to pull out injured early on, so no change at all in the top 3 of the race to Desert Springs. Richard James' share of 2nd place takes him up to 4th, with James Wilkinson soaring from 38th to number 5. And Mark Lasky into the top 10 after his joint runner-up finish. So it's congratulations then to James Wilkinson, the winner of the Pentahotels Championship.
Well, another first of the season here at Caversham Heath. James Wilkinson gets his first win of the season. Sadly, that's all we've got time for, but next week we'll be at the East Sussex National. So I'll see you there. Where is that James anyway? I think chicken dinners are on him tonight.